Y'all.
My class. Go fuck.
Whoa. Hey, calm down, everybody. We have a show here. Okay.
Honestly, though, like it's kind of boring.
What
Just
the
have a
necromancer?
skeleton army.
I heard it's way over the top.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
it's
you
very
just
OP.
like fucking hit two buttons and everything's dead on the screen.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. They're gonna definitely have to balance adjust that shit.
What?
Yeah.
Gotta have something for the cookie clicker crowd, dude.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little over the top though.
Well,
Mav's trying to do an intro,
yeah.
but that's okay. Welcome to Xbox Ultimate, everybody.
Woo!
Hey.
Diablo 4 Open Beta Edition yet
Yeah.
again. Let's go.
this is the Diablo queue. We're all sitting
Yes.
here just waiting.
I just
Get
got
in.
logged in after 3 times, by the way.
Oh man, it's
2
been
hours almost.
It was a rough go for me earlier today. Trying to get in, but thanks to the chat for being here. I see lots of awesome people. This is a big day in Xbox's history. One of many to come, I believe. But this is setting forth the motions of things to come regarding ABK. Is gonna looks like a smooth sailing from here on out. We got an awesome few topics to talk about here, and this is episode 131 of XUP. I'd like to introduce everybody to another little special guest we have here. This is Little Jim. Hello, everybody. Hi, Call of Duty, please. 10 years? Still can I have Call of Duty?
He's a South Park Canadian.
Call of Duty? Please, I like Call of Duty. Anyway, my daughter made this. She wanted me to show it off on
Freaking
stream.
amazing.
Yeah.
She's awesome with what she does.
Yeah,
I thought you did that today.
I
didn't.
didn't.
I thought that was your
Hello,
crafts for the whole
Call of
day.
Duty. No, she also
While you're
wanted me
sitting
to
in Diablo Q, Mav's making little fucking crafts.
She also wanted me to show this off. This little butterfly. That she, I
Nice.
don't even know how she does this
Butterfly
stuff.
in
Yeah.
the sky.
Yeah, little butterfly.
That's pretty
But guess what? It's a bookmark.
Oh, look at
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's why I
Nice.
promised her I'd show it off on the stream. So I'm doing this first, and it's look at
Oh,
this.
look at Dad. He's
Got
so
a
nice.
butterfly bookmark. Cool, and some manga. Right on. All right.
I'm sorry. Start off your show with a bunch of Effenheimers. I didn't know you were going to come in with your with the daughter's crafts.
Yeah, I mean, I
Like that.
promised her.
It's like-
She asked me to show the stuff off. I'm like, who am I to say no? I'm proud of her, right? So
Right, absolutely,
yeah.
of course. I didn't know that was going to happen.
yeah, but we got little Jim here. Maybe he'll be a future mascot for the channel. But yeah, we also have an actual real guest here today. The amazing Game
Is
Pass
he-
dad.
Is
Bob.
he really a guest?
Is
he really a
I'm
guest, or
back.
is he
he's
now part of
the
the family?
He's part of the family.
I'm part of
Okay.
the family.
He's got
Like
an
Olive
open
Garden.
invite, for the show.
Thank you.
How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing good. I've been addicted to Halo, and we're ready for a touchdown dance in this Activision Blizzard
Do you need an intervention?
marathon. Yeah, maybe.
Are you
no.
gonna play Diablo?
I downloaded it, and apparently my character choice is very controversial. But
necromancer?
I was the cookie clicker crowd. I'm just like,
okay.
hey, I just want to run around and let the skeletons do all the work. This is cool.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite class, Game Pass. That's why I was
It's
giving
capitalism, the
Psycho
class.
a
It
hard
feels
time.
like
Yes.
I,
hire someone else to get your kills.
I was using the druid earlier today, and I did the the werebear. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
looks sick.
Yeah, so it was just like this beast running around, smashing stuff.
It all looks fun, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I'm excited. I've never played Diablo before, so this will be my first one.
Yeah, right
Which
on.
I'm well equipped for it with my PC.
You don't happen to have a 3080 Ti, do you?
I've got a 3060 Ti. That's almost as good, right?
You should be.
It's
We
close.
should be safe because it was melting some graphics cards out there.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
dang. No, I think I think I'll be fine, probably.
You should be.
Yeah, you should be all right.
Well, how you doing, Jasper? What's up, man?
Doing all right. Played a bit of Diablo this morning. And then I've been watching the storms roll through. If you're in Mississippi, you might want to keep an eye out tonight. Just they got one going through right now. It's been on the ground for a while, so
Yeah.
just keep an eye out for that.
Stay safe,
Other than that, just doing all right.
Right on, man.
Spell Mississippi, Jasper.
What?
Spell Mississippi.
MISSIPP?
No, you
SSISSIPPI.
Yeah, MISSISSIPPI.
You don't trust that he's from there? No.
No, I don't trust that
Mississippi.
I know he's so young that he probably never learned the song.
Oh
Yeah. I knew there was some dumb song. I was like, shit. I was like, okay.
How you doing, Fuzz? What's up with you, man?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm glad to be here with you guys. Downloaded Diablo, haven't played it. I figured I'd wait until tomorrow. Still getting my racing fix. What do you call it? Tuesday, I think next week is when the DLC for Horizon 5 is out. And yeah, looking forward to that. But man, Twitter's been quiet. No ponies out there.
Yeah.
I mean, a few crying and writing novels and whatnot. But
yeah,
Dun,
the
dun,
woolly
dun,
bear
dun,
definitely.
dun, dun, dun,
The
dun.
woolly bear is broke.
Man, I saw that. I said it looked like a CVS receipt. That was long. That was a long thread. I feel bad that he wasted all that time. Psycho, how are you doing?
I'm just doing fan-fucking-tastic. It's Friday. I'm gonna be playing some Diablo after the show. Maybe some during the show. We don't know yet. But yeah, Pong's already ready. So here we go. Yeah, I've been playing since I think 1:30-ish.
Yeah.
And it's been fucking fantastic. So yeah, I went with Necro because Mav and Pong were gonna go Druid. So instead of being I was gonna go Druid, but they because I remember last night I was gonna go Druid, but since I'll go Necro. Now I'm a level 17 and I'm fucking just like massacre, just going through blowing up dead bodies like they're fucking never mind. I'm not gonna make that reference, but yes. So yeah, it's a great time. Great fucking time. So
Nice.
yeah.
Well, I've had an interesting experience with Diablo today. I've spent about an hour and a half in queues, and I've gotten to play for about 30 minutes. So
yeah, I mean, I was there with you this morning. I got through the character creation, a 48-minute queue, made my characters green, type in the name, and my power went out for half a second. Just enough to start my computer and turn it back on. So then I sit in the fucking 48-minute queue.
For me, I had a 27-minute queue. Then I had a login error. Then followed by a 29-minute queue. Then I got to play. I got past the prologue. I sent Psycho an invite. We were playing for about 5 minutes just in the town. We didn't even leave the fucking town. And then I got a error that crashed me to the home screen of the game. Then I queued back up, 38-minute queue. Got through that. Then I sent Psycho another invite, and we're playing for about 15, 20 minutes, maybe. And then another error that crashed me back to the home screen. And then it said 48-minute queue. So I went and played a match of Battlefield instead because I wasn't going to have time before the show started. So probably about maybe a half hour before we end, I'm going to queue it up. Right. Just to
Did you get to do any of your instances?
I did a couple. I have the same instance because I ran past it to go do something and ran back, and it was the same
one new one. Yeah, it was a new one.
Yeah, it was fun though. I am liking my character.
Have any of y'all done the side quest where there's the dude that's like really into BDSM?
No.
No.
That might be exclusive to your game, Jasper.
No, it's not.
Dark alleys are you going down?
Okay. You went down the wrong dungeon, man. I went to the wrong person's basement.
No, he was outside.
Oh, he was outside? Okay. Interesting. All right.
No shame in his kink.
Well, how are you doing, Pong? I see you. Are you queued up? Or are you actually?
Oh, I'm actually playing. I just got in. Like
Okay.
again, I tried since I got home. I got home at 7, so 2 hours is how long it took me to queue up. So I'm getting because I got to the character creation, got through the character creation, got the name, but then when I went and pressed played, I got error 30169619 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I got a different one after that, and each time it's been about 38 to 45-minute queue. So that's what I've been doing. So I just got in now. I went sorceress this time. So
Okay.
That's my standard class for Diablo anyways. So
Have any of y'all checked to see if you got more transmog items like on your new characters?
I haven't looked yet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yours carried
weekend.
over too?
Yeah.
No,
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was just like a random glitch that I had or whatever. Because like when I got on the new character, I just had like a shit ton of transmog. I was like, what the fuck?
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go check it out.
Yes, and I just had some items in my stash box that I had from last weekend
Yeah.
still in mine.
Oh,
So-
stash box carried over.
Yeah,
too, huh? I
yeah.
wish I would have known that. I would have definitely loaded it up on some stuff.
Instead of
Well, that's-
getting rid of all the
I have
junk.
I had
put one
no
of the
idea.
legendary like necklaces in there, so I guess
Yeah.
I can like take that out and just use it on there.
Yeah,
As
I got
Victor.
legendary stuff in there, but I would have kept some stuff for sorcerer or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so no, otherwise, chat, y'all are freaking amazing showing up here. How many we got in here? Almost 70 already. It's freaking amazing. What a day. What a day, man.
Yeah.
What a day, brother. After we get done with last night's show, then today happens, right? We go through
7 in the morning this morning. I started seeing these messages
Yes.
everywhere. I'm like, what is happening?
Right?
Wow.
But because we've been fascinated with it. We've talked about this for so long, for the past year, over a year now. We've been talking about this stuff. But you could feel like so many people are sick and tired of it, Mav. This news today like reinvigorated it.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
even the people that were like frustrated and didn't want to talk about it anymore want to talk about it today. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
Let's go. Let's talk about this. This is great. So you could feel that whole shift on social media. And like Fuzzy said, they're some of the stable was out, some of the circus was out. They were definitely doing their best to flip it and to try to turn it around and do all their normal goalposts moving. But for the most part, it was excitement. And that's what's great about this community. When stuff like this happens, the energy that you get from just scrolling through online and watching everybody light up like Christmas trees and be like, yes, even if it's just relief that we're getting towards the end, it's still positive energy. And that's what's freaking amazing. But everything we talked about, everything, and we'll get into it, but everything we've been talking about over the past year, it's almost gone right down the line. It's taken a little bit longer than some of us thought originally, but obviously Microsoft knew better. That's why they set the date they did. But everything has followed right in line. The re-education of the regulatory bodies is happening, and we're watching it live. And what's even funnier is it was a math problem that they screwed up on. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding?
It's amazing that they admitted that they were wrong.
Yes.
That was the craziest thing, with this, because there's still
Microsoft went public. It was like, look at their math. They can't even do math.
Yeah.
That would have been awful.
Well, we do question their math abilities over at the CMA.
Okay, well, I got the excuse for Sony. They can use Microsoft makes the calculator on the computer and the basic calculator, so Microsoft's controlling the algorithm.
Hey, they put
Windows
glitches
on
in
the
the end
algorithm.
product, dude.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. They changed the algorithm of the calculator, so it was benefit for them.
Graphing
Yeah, great
calculators
day.
are exclusive to Windows.
They are. Totally.
Shout out to Vic the Click, member for 10 months. Said, let's
Shout out to
go.
Vic.
6 on the panel. I want to thank everybody who caught PM in the PM last night as well and helped push us over the edge to 3K. We hit 3K subs yesterday. So it means a lot to me, all the chat messages, all the comments and everything like that as well. Vic
And the
had
big shots.
The
Yeah.
Vic had the most amazing tweet last night. So shout out to you, Vic.
Yeah.
He actually filmed himself doing the 3 shots for the 3K, like he said he would during the podcast last night. So that was amazing, dude. It made my night. And again, appreciate you all for helping us grow this channel. And y'all are all a huge part of it. So yeah, but let's get into some juicy topics, right? I was want to just talk about Diablo for a couple hours and call it quits, or we got some other bigger stuff to talk about.
You should bring up your gameplay live and we could just play it and talk.
Okay,
Mhm.
right. With my gameplay of a 45-minute queue, that's going to be fire.
You did that the last weekend.
Yeah.
We were on stream.
Yeah, I did.
Just gonna be a short one today, boys.
But this, like Pong was saying, from the get-go, we've been confident with this deal, right? Because there's been no reason that this deal shouldn't be allowed. It was never illegal. All these different things. The CMA parroting Sony, we said from the get-go was it was weak, because if that's the only thing that they had at their disposal to try and make the big challenge, it's not a very good tool to use, because it's easy to overcome. And it was surprisingly what happened today was they pretty much looked at it and said, well, I guess we screwed up. Sony in this argument is irrelevant for the future of this deal. It's not going to harm them. It's not going to harm them to the point of foreclosure or some ridiculousness that Sony was trying to say. It's going to be something that they found reasons that the game will probably stay multi-platform. But the most interesting thing for me with this, guys, is that with now the EC removing Sony and PlayStation from their main issues, now with the CMA as well removing Sony and PlayStation from the main issues here, there is probably no official remedies signed between the EC and the CMA or concessions regarding PlayStation. Now, it doesn't mean that Xbox is going to just not put Call of Duty on the PlayStation. Of course they are, and they've been saying that in the public, so they're going to uphold that. But has Sony lost some sort of leverage here with some kind of parity clauses, things like that, that they could have potentially shot for the moon for with this deal? Or because that's what it's seeming like to me right now. Like, we talked about this a few weeks ago, I think on PM of the PM, how leverage was at that point a couple weeks ago was like do or die for Sony. And we said if they don't strike now and try and get a 10-year deal now, they may not have as good of a deal later, right? Now with the CMA coming out and saying, hey, guess what? Sony, you're irrelevant to this argument. We're just focusing on the cloud. Microsoft's getting all those 10-year licensing deals. That's not going to be a big problem, right? Leverage is gone. FTC is irrelevant with this as well because the FTC case is going to go federal regardless anyway, and they're going to lose probably. But did Sony kind of shoot themselves in the foot by not at some point seeing the writing on the wall? I will start with Game Pass Dad on this. Like, I don't know. For me, it seems like they may have made a mistake.
I think they definitely did not calculate very well, like how much of a risk this is. Because I mean, really, what are they gaining from this aside from, like you said, potentially like losing leverage when it comes to bargaining? Like they could have probably taken some of that, because really all they really drummed up was a bunch of PR for Microsoft being like anti-competitive, and they maybe had some arguments there for a second, and ever since then it's just been basically pieced apart, and now they're just not even ready to sign a deal. So it's just I don't get it. Like I feel like stuff like this is just going to go down as them like not being consumer friendly and ultimately just trying to make a buck any way they can. It's not going to go well for them.
Yeah, I think Sony kind of leading with that whole market share thing, whereas Nintendo doesn't count as well, has backfired on them. Microsoft twisted in that around on them and used that to their advantage. It seems like every move that now, obviously, all of us here agree that Sony, I think, had to try and challenge this, right? Because they needed to try and save whatever revenue they could and market share that they can that could be potentially lost from this. But at the end of the day, when they made the arguments that they made, twisted the things that they twisted, all of these things, it kind of turned around. And now you even have the FTC potentially, or not the FTC, but Democratic senators pointing eyes back at Sony.
She's paid off. Yeah.
She's paid off. Is that what
they're
saying now?
She's an Xbox employee.
Yeah.
You didn't see that, Matt?
No, I didn't see that.
Oh yeah, because
God.
because you know, obviously when you donate politically, right? Those numbers, those figures are out public. So they pulled her public donation records, and they found out that, well, it's a couple things. Xbox 2 talked about this. Jez and Rand talked about this too. Shout out to those guys. But I had already seen it on Twitter too. So what they pulled it, well, she's from Washington State, first of all.
Right, correct.
So those are her constituents.
Yeah.
Right? Microsoft happens to be one of the biggest employers in the state. Jez pointed all this out today, which he's absolutely correct. So there's going to be a lot of Microsoft employees within her constituency, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, everybody's pointing out because it showed that Microsoft donations on her for herself were over $500,000. But of course, the clowns being the clowns, the circus being the circus, whether again they're intellectually dishonest or willfully ignorant, they couldn't simply read, or they chose to ignore it and obviously press their narrative because that's over like 20 years, 30 years,
right?
30 years
in total donations.
And wouldn't it make sense also for Microsoft to donate to the local
but
senators,
that's the whole thing.
Right?
But that's even better. Even better, Mav. That total was not Microsoft Corp. That was individuals who worked for Microsoft.
Yeah.
Right.
So all the employees
Oh,
themselves, personal donations.
It's a deep operation,
Yes.
Pong.
Yeah.
I know, right?
It wasn't a
It's
corporation.
a Ponzi scheme.
Yes. So she's a paid Xbox employee, and that's all
Apparently.
she's doing.
Yeah, and I love how they've left like.
But we
like,
also have to remember that, like, even though that she's speaking up on like the floor of the Congress or whatever, like Congress also themselves is a clown show. So like, however much of that goes, like, I don't know how far this is actually going to go with her.
It may
speaking
not.
out.
Ultimately, it
No.
may not. But it's still interesting that limelight is being focused back at Sony now, which is we said could happen a long time ago. Originally, when they made these arguments, when they made these challenges, when we said you're causing the whole industry to cast a magnifying glass or a microscope at things that they've gotten away with for years, right?
Yeah.
Pandora's box. You can't put it back once you open it up, Sony.
And if Sony, if they do start looking into their entire how they do their how they structure their contracts and everything with, and finding out that they benefit Japan developers for not putting games onto Xbox, that all comes out, and it's like how is Microsoft being the ones being anti-consumer while when it's all your concerns and everything that you've been boasting is a reflection of yourself in the mirror onto what you are afraid of what Microsoft could do because you're doing it. Well, guess what? That shit don't work and that shit don't fly. And the CMA sees it now. So we're seeing no concessions from them, minus whatever Xbox has already put out there. And we're probably the same thing with the EC. And the only thing with the FTC is that if they stay stubborn and want to try to take this to court, as Mav, you posted in Twitter, they're just going forward. And if FTC tries to go, they're going to fight it. Guess what?
People are forgetting that. It's like, and I've seen so much talk today, even on some of these major like financial like television shows where they're posting clips on online and stuff, and they're talking about, well, the last hurdle is the FTC, and they're gonna have that thing in August, so this is gonna drag on until then. They're gonna have to renegotiate the contract or for the merger. I'm like, did you guys not remember this stuff, right? Like, there's so much things that people forget with every step.
Wasn't it Amazon that just said fuck the FTC's opinion, and they just went ahead and
they
bought
did it first,
whatever they bought?
And it was Hogue Law, actually. Shout out to Hogue, who originally pointed out that Microsoft maybe eventually will go that same route, in which he alluded to the fact that the way they responded originally sounded like they were setting that potentially up in the long run.
Correct.
And Hogue said that way early on, like right away, pretty much.
And he did mention that all stipulates on what the CMA and EC results are. And now we're seeing that, hey, we have no concessions minus whatever you've already wanted to bring to the table. Maybe some cloud infrastructure shit, but Microsoft's like, hey, let's work together. We can work whatever issues that you have out, and let's resolve this, and let's go forward, because in the long run with cloud, it's where this industry it's like the movie industry. We went from theaters, then to VHS, to DVDs, to streaming, and that's how we are doing that. That's the same path that video games are going. They're going physical now. And physical is not going to die anytime soon, but digital is the future of how things are going, how you consume your content. So and plus, I know, physical, you don't have the, because the whole, you own the product. Well, with digital, that media does not die. Like, if you have a media disc, it can deteriorate, and then that disc is no longer good. And how and they don't make that version of that game anymore. How are you going to play that? So in the future, digital is the future, And I think Microsoft is showing the CMA and people that are not aware of how this industry is, where it's moving, because PC went all digital and there's hardly any physical for PC. PC's going digital, has been going digital. It's only a matter of time that so is consoles, and we're going to see a shift. And right now it's like the stubborn old guy that is Sony is like, no, we can't have change, we don't like change. And it's like, listen, either you're going to fucking change, adapt to the surroundings of the industry, or you're going to end up
like Blockbuster,
Sega. You're not going to be around if you don't adapt.
I liked Pong's first initial response in one of the DM groups today on our Xbox Factor podcast DM group when he had the Vince Carter gif. Game over. Right. It's over.
It's over.
Yeah, that was amazing. But yeah, that cracked me up, man. Because this morning it was like, wow, it is over. J Mac in the chat was asking a little while ago, percentage wise now, how do we feel about this deal closing? I'm 100%. Like, I'm just being honest. There's not. I am ultra confident. There's no way this deal's not going through now. Like,
something crazy could come out.
Yeah,
so
I'm 99.99%.
So that's why I say.
Okay, you
want to
say 1 in 1,000? Okay.
Yeah. So I'll go 95%.
95%.
Yep.
I'm gonna say 100%. Just because, like, for the fuck of it, somebody's got to say 100%, and I let that be me.
Sony's bribe money's coming out. We'll see how.
I'll eat my shirt if this deal doesn't go through. No,
you eat your shirt. You better
with condiments or without.
Well, it better be a wet shirt. Let's just
better be having a shirt made out of like fruit roll-ups or something.
I think it would take a lot though to block it at this point. Like it just seems like Sony's done nothing but point out how anti-competitive they are the whole time. So I don't think the odds of I hate to be the person who roots on the $2 trillion company and say, hey, we need to protect their right to compete. But I mean, in this particular case, like I think that they've got a solid chance of making this happen.
Yeah.
If this was the Hunger Games, the odds are not in Sony's favor. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that could save Sony now are aliens.
Don't put it past them.
Fuzzy. it might happen.
Let's see. But regarding to what Psycho was talking about earlier, with the last hurdle now, according to a lot of reports, is the FTC, right? FTC's this goes federal. They have no case, right? They've already the lawsuit from the gamers has been thrown out as well, which was the same points of the FTC case. But people were saying, well, they might have to renegotiate that contract, and that's going to kill the deal because Activision Blizzard will want to back out at that point and all this stuff. It's like, what?
Yeah, they don't want millions upon millions of dollars.
Anyway, so I'm just going to
read. Ojik doesn't want a $200 million gold.
Who wants millions?
Who wants that?
I'm going to read this this was
from billions.
January 4th of this year. Okay. This is a report from MLEX about the pre-hearing that had happened. Okay. So any potential remedy entered into the EC and CMA will be offered to the FTC. So the remedies that we know of now are going to be regarding the cloud, right? It's going to be the cloud. It's going to be these 10-year license deals. It's going to be potentially having a third-party company oversee that happening and make sure that they actually put their games on those services, right? In quotes from Beth Wilkinson, who is one of the attorneys from Microsoft, said, "This deal is undergoing review over in Europe and the UK, and we are hoping they will be resolved. And if there are remedies that are appropriate, we can come back to the FTC to talk about a resolution." That's Microsoft's lead counsel, Beth Wilkinson. So then James Weingarten, deputy chief trial counsel at the FTC, said that staff. When he said staff, accordingly, I guess to this he means himself, is always open to a remedy or settlement proposal during or before litigation. Although there are no substantive conversations happening at this time. Well, that was back in January. There are now. Between the CMA, the EC, there's a lot of conversations happening. Microsoft, ABK, and the FTC agreed to an expedited discovery schedule so they can start requesting and inspecting documents in a shortened time period. Beth Wilkinson told Chappell, the administrative judge, that if a resolution isn't reached with the FTC, the deal will go forward and close after a remedy is reached in all pending jurisdictions. That would mean EC, CMA, any other jurisdictions. But that the companies assumed the FTC would go to federal court in that case. This is January 4th. Everybody's forgetting about this. This was from the lead counsel from Microsoft regarding the ABK deal, saying to the FTC, if we get these concessions and remedies with these other regulators, we're not going to let you hold this deal up. We're going to move through, and we assume you're going to take us federal because that's probably what you're going to do anyway, right? So we're going to close accordingly because we don't want to be delayed past our closing date and have to renegotiate our contract. She also said that's why they wanted to front load the discovery just in case the FTC went to federal court, because Microsoft ABK have a termination date of July 18th, 2023. We are preparing for all options, said Wilkinson. And this was back in January again. According to MLex, that Microsoft sounded quite confident. They're still expecting to close the deal and the original termination date. They sound positive about the review process in Europe and UK. And this was notes from when everybody thought the sky was falling apart with the CMA and the EC, right? If they get the go-ahead from the CMA and EC and the FTC doesn't settle, they'll go forward and close the deal in the U.S., expecting the FTC to go to court. Very interesting. Now let's see what the CMA brings to the table this month. Now we're in March. We know what the CMA has brought to the table. We know what Microsoft's remedies are. These 10-year licensing deals with other cloud companies, NVIDIA. They're doing even a deal with Nintendo. They're doing a deal with that Boosteroid and Ubidus and other companies, and there's more to come.
I'm wondering how much of those like smaller cloud companies are just like, they just put a little bit of money in just so they can get the deal passed, and because they know that those cloud companies, the smaller ones, are probably going to be bought up in the next like few years by other larger companies like Amazon or stuff like that. Buy them up. Yeah, and then that way they could get out of the contract themselves and just be like,
I just don't think they're worried about the cloud.
Yeah,
I just don't, because again,
that's why I'm saying it could just be like something they're putting through to just be like, say we're making deals, and
because the CMA gave them that shopping list. They actually provided the list of the smaller companies, including big ones, of course. Amazon and Mav and I read that one off too, but a couple weeks ago. But they did give them a shopping list, basically a honey-do list, and said, well, these are all the companies we're talking about. And so they just started making deals with all these little companies, going, sure, I don't give a shit, they're probably not going to be around in 10 years. Who cares, right? So
well, I wonder what servers those companies are using.
Right, that too, right?
Are they using Azure? You know,
it is true.
They are now.
True. Yeah, they could be now. It is true. It is true because of, we've talked about this. Microsoft does have the advantage because they do have all the infrastructure on top of the extra resources to do this, whereas most companies never will. That's what happens with new technology. That's why the richest companies in the world are the richest companies in the world, because it takes money to do this stuff. There's no way to level the playing field for a Boosteroid and say, oh, yeah, they should be able to compete on even keel with Microsoft and cloud gaming. What? No, you're never going to level that playing field. That's not going to happen. So I think at the end of the day, that's why at this point with the cloud, that's why I said it's over. Again, they're going to keep cutting deals. What's his face from Microsoft came out today. The communications director came out today and put out a tweet saying, hey, we're just getting started. There'll be more news next week. So
it was
wasn't the communications guy?
It was, but he said that I know you guys hate hearing about this, but it ain't ending, and we're only getting started, or something along the lines.
Something like that, yeah.
Dude, it was awesome.
Because they don't care. They'll just cut deals with everybody. They don't give a shit.
So this is CMA had this to say today. Again, this is what we woke up to. It was 7 a.m. my time, 8 a.m. for a lot of you out there. But this part is interesting. I'm not gonna read this whole thing because it's kind of long. But the CMA has received a significant. This is from actual government.uk. Okay, this is as official gets. The CMA has received.
Wait, Mavs. Notice they didn't use emojis.
This is no emojis.
They're done having fun, everybody.
Yeah.
It got down to business now.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
The CMA has received a significant amount of new evidence in response to its original
Winky
provisional
face.
findings. Having considered this new evidence carefully, together with the wide range of information gathered before those provisional findings were issued, the CMA Inquiry Group has updated its provisional findings and reached the provisional conclusion that overall, the transaction will not result in a substantial lessening of competition related to console gaming in the UK. The most significant new evidence provided to the CMA relates to Microsoft's financial incentives to make Activision games, including Call of Duty, exclusive to its own consoles. While the CMA's original analysis indicated that this strategy would be profitable under most scenarios, new data, which provides better insight into the actual purchasing behavior of COD gamers, indicates that this strategy would be significantly loss-making under any plausible scenario. On this basis, the updated analysis now shows that it would not be commercially beneficial to Microsoft to make COD exclusive to Xbox following the deal, but that Microsoft will instead still have the incentive to continue to make the game available on PlayStation. The CMA's addendum to its provisional findings today relates only to competition in the supply of consoles and not to competition in the supply of cloud gaming services, where the CMA is continuing to carefully consider the responses provided in relation to the original provisional findings. The CMA's merger investigation continues, and it will remain, it remains due to issue its final report by 26 April 2023. Martin Coleman, chair of the independent panel of experts conducting this investigation, said, "Provisional findings are a key aspect of the merger process and are explicitly designed to give the business involved and any interested third parties the chance to respond with new evidence before we make a final decision. Having considered the additional evidence provided, we have now provisionally concluded that the merger will not result in a substantial lessening of competition in cloud gaming services because the cost to Microsoft of withholding Call of Duty from PlayStation would outweigh any gains from taking such action. Our provisional view that this deal raises concerns in the cloud gaming market is not affected by today's announcement. Our investigation remains on course for completion by the end of April."
That was a whole lot of words to say we fucked up.
Pretty much.
That's
You see
professional
Jim
work.
Ryan showing up at the door now with like a mustache, fake mustache, and a monocle, and he's like, "Hi, I'm from Acme Gaming, and we'd like to supply some more information for this."
Hey, we're from Sony. Can you sign
Yeah,
us a
we're
deal?
Donnie.
I mean, if this doesn't say it, it says it. Yeah, I mean, it's like it says everything you need to know about everything that. Let's just be honest. There's been two sides to this whole thing. From the consumer perspective, the gamer's perspective. There's been the people parroting Sony. There's been the media, some of the journalists out there, some of big time journalists even calling foul, consolidation, bad, Call of Duty. Oh, I don't believe you. What do you mean? It's only a few years. What do you mean? Remember that? What do you mean? It's only a few? Well, you said, why not perpetuity? Why not fucking perpetuity? You remember that? Remember the pundits that come out there and say stupid shit all the time too? Like, there's so much stuff that's been from that side where you have people that are supposedly intelligent, use big words like macroeconomics and things like this, right? Come out and make all these arguments and long drawn out fucking tweets and like arguments about things, this and that. And then
That's
you have
conjecture.
and then you have people like us who are just like, hey, we're just fucking like normal common sense dudes around here. You know what I mean? Like, we're looking at this, we're like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know, like, do you not see what's going on in the bigger picture? There's so much to this. We are not concerned whatsoever about this deal having like a negative effect towards gaming as a whole, right? Which is what this has all been about. Call of Duty was never going to destroy PlayStation. PlayStation tried to make it seem like that. Microsoft said, well, they're going to keep putting it on the platform, all these different things. The most interesting thing now to me is that the regulator that everybody was holding their hopes onto, the CMA was their last line of defense. The CMA was saying, please, everyone said, please, CMA, to hold them to the Call of Duty thing. Right? Hold them to it. Don't allow it. Call of Duty, it's gonna destroy everything if Microsoft gets a hold of COD. They're holding on to the CMA. The CMA does a 180 now. Changes course, completely irrelevant to their findings going forward. Deals getting passed, and everybody that's making all those arguments parroting Sony, in my opinion, just looks like a fool. It's over. It's done. This deal's
It's a
getting
wrap.
done. It's happening. Now we
It's a
got
wrap.
the interesting thing is too, like a lot of people are, hey, I'm sick of ABK. I'm sick of ABK. I get that. I haven't been. This is one of the most fascinating things that we've had happen in gaming ever, right?
Mhm.
But to think that this conversation is going to end when this deal's closed, it's not. What are we still talking about? Starfield. We're talking about Redfall. We're talking about exclusivity of Redfall. We're talking about all these different things. We're just discussing all these different things from the ZeniMax Bethesda acquisition. Whew. ABK is like that times fucking 10. We're going to be talking about the change of Microsoft with ABK and the acquisition as part of the first party going
Every
forward.
single year that Call of
years.
Duty comes out, it's going to be brought up. It's like, are they going to do exclusive content this year? Microsoft lied again.
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
This is going to be ongoing. Diablo, as much as we fucking love talking about Diablo is going to be a Microsoft first party fucking game, everybody.
Well, it's been in development since Microsoft bought it. So
I don't
count.
care.
They don't get credit. It doesn't count.
You're on mute, Pong, by the way.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. I saw your mouth like that a little bit ago, and nothing came out. So.
I went bop, 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 bop.
Okay.
So okay, all right.
I mean, it's just very interesting. I think that the questions that we can start to ask now, assuming that
Who's
this
next?
deal goes through, is two things. One is who's next, and the other one is what games will be exclusive from ABK, or will there be any games exclusive from ABK? Period. Right? I mean, Call of Duty's not. It's going to stay everywhere. Right? Overwatch 2 is going to stay everywhere. You know, games like Diablo, I assume, is going to be everywhere as well. But there's a lot of other games that could come from this that originally, when we first got excited about the possibilities of this, and what Phil said originally was looking at the IPs that they own and being excited about these things. Games like Hexen, you know, Gun, True Crime,
StarCraft.
Prototype. StarCraft. Yeah. What games out of these may we see actually come back after this deal closes? And will some of those be exclusive? I say yes.
Yes.
I mean, I could see them after they get Age of Mythology out in like 2024, 2025. They put that team on StarCraft. They just give them that, and then they remake StarCraft probably, and then we'll get a new one in like 2027.
If it's not already internally being worked on.
Yeah.
Because Ybarra had that exchange with Lou, whatever, what's his name, the actor. You know, when we saw that happen live on
The
Twitter.
Shang-Chi dude, yeah.
Yeah, the Shang-Chi dudes. So maybe they've already got it started internally somewhere. It's certainly possible. So, but yeah, I think that stuff, I think anything single player for sure, I believe would remain exclusive from this point out. So if you get Toys for Bob back on, you know, games again.
What if there's like,
yeah, it's just weird because like, are they going to do like the next, if they do Crash 5, is that going to be
or
exclusive?
what if there's a Crash kart racer that comes out, Crash Team Racing, right?
Multiplayer stuff, I think will probably
Make
go
it
everywhere.
Microsoft Team Racing at that point.
Yeah.
But see,
Yeah.
Redfall's exclusive too. So like, that's a
Yeah,
multiplayer
true.
game.
I mean, it is true.
I
don't know. Go ahead, Psycho.
No, I think it's going to be what will be multi-plat will be games that needs like a big audience.
Right.
Like a Diablo 4 could be one of those games that could be multi-plat.
Oh yeah.
Because they have
Diablo 4 is
mean,
already going to be so that
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
the
Yes,
only
Diablo
question
4
would be
could also
Diablo
be
5.
exclusive too. So it's like Diablo 4 is going to be
I'm just
fun on its
saying
own.
that the community in that game, because if it was if it didn't have that really like PvP aspect, or not PvP but PvE aspect, like the world instances and things, then I could see it staying on Xbox. But games like that need like ESO, like an MMO, Call of Duty, things like that needs a large group of players to be engaged in the game will be multiplat. But a lot of the smaller single player co-op like Redfall, those you can get away with keeping it exclusive.
Yeah, it's just I think the question is it becomes because like they've talked about like known IP like possibly remaining multiplat. Like if they do a Spyro or a Crash, like would that still be multiplat because it's a known franchise that's been on other platforms before?
If they do the same wording like legacy titles as they did with Bethesda,
but they're not signing anything or guaranteeing anything about this, right?
It'll be a case by case basis then.
Right.
Yeah, like Bethesda, case by case, and I think it would be the same thing with Activision. A game like Spyro or Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot would make sense to be exclusive in my opinion because it's kind of like a mascot type guy. You know?
He also like a middle finger to Sony because they used to be exclusive.
It used to be a Sony mascot.
And Spyro,
Spyro
and Crash were both Sony's type. Back in PS2 was like kind of their thing. That was their mascot. So no, that's where I think. It's not a big deal if some of these games go multiplat. But brand new IPs, like if they do a true crime, if they do a brand new IP that someone in the company is like, I've been working on this game since I've been working for Activision. Now with the possibility of Xbox, they can take it like Hi-Fi Rush with John Johannes. He did Hi-Fi Rush and they said, hey, you want to do it? Go ahead. If there's a game like that from a developer within the company, be surprised. Don't be surprised that Xbox is like, you know what? It looks good. Here's, if you here's some backing, whatever the case is, and they could do it. Like I think a couple episodes prior, I think they're going to break up some of their internal companies. Like smaller fractured teams. So like people from Raven, if they don't want to work on Call of Duty and Toys for Bob and so on and so forth, if they don't want to work on those games, they can splinter off and do like, Raven Software of London. You know what I mean? They can do a splinter company and work on new IP for Xbox. And that's the most exciting thing out of this ABK deal. It's not Call of Duty and all that. It's the new IPs that we're going to get all these very talented artists and people that are developing these games they're going to be working on. And that is what has me most excited about this deal is those IPs that we could be getting, and they will be exclusive to the console because they're not established, just like Redfall. They're, just because they're possibly going onto another console, if they're working or developing for another console.
But yeah, I think the real test to see if they like hold the word on legacy titles remaining exclusive. I think the first game that may come out that there'll be a test on is Wolfenstein 3, because that's the only game that I think that is coming out like in the near future that's been on PlayStation, but now Microsoft owns it. So it's like,
yeah, that's a good one, Jasper. Bob, what do you think? I mean, you think they're gonna put everything multiplat, or you think we're gonna get exclusives at ABK?
I think as time goes on, like anything that they probably don't have to, they would most likely like not make multi-platform, kind of like how we have like the Redfall and Starfield as like Xbox exclusive. But at the same time, like PlayStation's whole argument was like, hey, we're gonna lose a bunch of money if we lose our deals that we have with Call of Duty and can't treat it like our own game. So at that point, that means there's a bunch of money that Microsoft potentially also leaves on the line if they did try to make it like an exclusive. So I don't feel like they're as worried as making those big games exclusive. And I think it's going to be a case by case basis, like they said. And really,
the chat's pointing out Hellblade 2 as an exclusive.
Yeah, but like there was only one game. It's like you can kind of shift that IP to be your own. Whereas Wolfenstein, it's been around for years, and there's multiple series in that franchise. So it's like it's kind of wiggled its way more into multiple platforms.
And
it's
but
kind
the
of hard to
thing
take
is,
away that. That's what I point to that.
Hellblade 2 is not a Bethesda game. It's a Ninja Theory. And all when they said games, legacy games, they were just talking about Bethesda. So they could definitely, they can say, well, you know, we never mentioned Ninja Theory. We were only, you know, we were talking about Bethesda games that are, you know, we will have legacy, that we won't take off of other consoles. So, and that's the thing, that they, you know, because there's a smaller studio, you know, it's just like Insomniac with if they make the next Sunset Overdrive. Well, you know, they can't, Microsoft can't force Sony to make that sequel come to Xbox.
I just want them to make a fucking update for us for the first one. I'll settle for that. I want to play Sunset Overdrive at 60 frames. Let's go.
Yeah, they could be like, if okay, you can make Sunset Overdrive 2, give us a 60, let us FPS boost it, and that's it. So
yeah,
because that's the only thing they have to do is just get the okay. I guarantee that game is already they probably have an FPS boost on, you know, Jim Ronald's desk, and he's probably playing at 60.
Jim Ronald. I think he's getting them. Okay, I thought you were talking about. I don't know if you're talking about Jim Ryan or okay.
No. Jason Ronald. He's probably playing at 60. He's like, man, this game's amazing at 60. I wish other people could experience it.
I mean, the chat's making really good points too with Hellblade 2 for as an example though. But I do see Wolfenstein being a little different, like Jasper says. However, I still think Wolfenstein 3 would be exclusive. Right? I think it would be exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem. Single player based game. You know what I mean? I don't think I think there's live service type stuff is where they're really getting into that potential. But the chat's making a good example though about like Microsoft is the one investing and growing Ninja Theory, right? They're the ones putting all this money in. They did the new mocap studio. They're doing all this. They're growing the studio, and the second game is going to be way bigger than the first one was. And Microsoft, because of that investment, should be the ones to reap the rewards of it if that's do whatever they want with it, right? So. Same could go for Wolfenstein 3, right? Like Wolfenstein 3, they could put more. It could be bigger than any Wolfenstein they've had before it. Who knows, right? But regardless, like it's these studios and publishers are really to do with Microsoft as they see fit, especially without any concessions or remedies actually being signed, you know, to these regulators from the EC and the CMA that's enforcing any of this. And we know that the FTC, they're going to propose the same remedies agreed upon there to the FTC, and that's probably what they're going to come up with, and that's all just relegating to the cloud, right? I mean, there's no parity enforcement with this deal even, and that was a question I had. We're talking about this a little bit before you got here, Pong, in the pre-chat.
Yeah.
Now, I know that they're going to do what they can, but when we talk about leverage that Sony had, maybe they could have gotten Microsoft to agree to make all ABK games on Sony's platform, right? That was one thing they could have potentially lost out on, right? Another thing would be parity, right? Because we all do know the Series X is a little bit more powerful than the PlayStation 5.
A little bit.
The tools that are not being utilized by the developers are usually because the lead platform that they develop on is a PlayStation. We knew that one advantage of these games being owned by Microsoft now is they're going to develop probably first for Xbox, right? So if the performance can be better on a Series X than a PS5, is that something that we'll see without it being enforced now due to some dumbed down clause?
That's the question, right? Is whether or not that's already included in some of the remedies that they provided that have. I understand that the CMA came out and said they're not worried math-wise anymore about foreclosure as far as the consoles go if Microsoft were to pull Call of Duty. But did Microsoft already offer remedies to that case? You know, as far as parity goes, as far as that kind of stuff goes, that the CMA, that was like a part of the exchange already. You know what I'm saying? Like that was culminating to this point where the CMA does come out and say, okay, well, now we don't have any more issues, you know, that's what we got to find out. That's what we got to know at the end of the day. I still think that even
so you think there's still maybe going to be some remedies
I still think there's going to be some remedies that way, right? Mm-hmm. And I've said that all along. I think that's why Sony went scorched earth, because to Sony, it was either the deal gets blocked or they've already lost, right? They didn't care about little things in their contracts that they might have had leverage at the end of the day. But I think that, again, I've said it all along, that Microsoft is going to be the nice guy in all of this. I know a lot of us would love to see Dark Phil come out and start cackling and be like, this is unlimited power, right? It would be fantastic if he went that route. I would love it. It would be great. Corp on corp violence. Let's go. But I think that Microsoft is going to, because they're not done. And again, yes, this is the biggest deal that they probably will ever push through. And it probably opens the door for smaller deals at the end of the day, because if you can push this one through, what's a Sega at this point?
Well, Sega too would also help counteract that whole Japan thing that's going on right now,
which is going to come into play,
in their favor.
Correct, which we need to talk about. So, but Microsoft is still going to play nice, because they, first of all, they meant it, right? Second of all, because they know they're going to be back in front of these regulatory bodies at some point down the road, and they want to turn to them when they walk through those doors and be like, you already know who we are. Let's get this over with, right? Because we've shown you everything. We made the biggest purchase a few years ago in the history of Microsoft. You guys had a lot of concerns, but look at us. We've shared the wealth. Everybody's happy. Nothing changed. We're all good. Nobody's getting foreclosed on. And that just makes the next deal go through that much easier with these regulatory bodies, because they can say we got the facts on our side. We showed you. We're not just tell you. We showed you. So I think Microsoft is still going to play nice. And so, yeah, I do believe that parity clauses and that kind of stuff still could be a part of this, something that they're already offered. And they will throw in there when Sony comes to sign that official contract. At the end of the day, I think those parity clauses are probably in there, and I don't think they're going to remove them. I don't think they're going to take an eraser to those. So
when the PS5 both of these companies kind of already do that parity clause thing, right? Like Microsoft, when they make a deal, they're like, "Hey, can you make it look the same on ours?" So like both companies already do the parity clause thing in their own way.
Yes,
so
yes.
like,
yeah,
I just don't think it's a big deal.
Yeah, but we also see games perform better on certain platforms than the other.
But I don't think that's going to be the difference, right, Matt? That's going to be different. We're not going to have a situation with any Activision Blizzard games where the PS version is running better, because the Xbox will be the lead platform, right? Yeah. So there's no question that we won't have those titles, that we've seen where it's like, why is Xbox dropping frames but PlayStation isn't, right? That's not going to be a problem.
For example, like Madden had 120 frames mode.
Yes.
Right, where on PlayStation it didn't. You know what I mean? But that's like a heavily played game on both platforms, right?
Right.
So, but they took advantage of the extra horsepower of the Xbox there. Yep. But like I would hate for Microsoft to like not do that just to try and appease regulators.
They'll go ahead and do the pushing the hardware to the fullest on the Xbox side, because look at like what's the recent game, Deathloop. Like once it came over to Xbox, they did do the FRS stuff, and they did a few more things to help improve the frame pacing and resolution and stuff. So they'll have it where, in worst case scenario, the baseline will be what the PlayStation can do and possibly what the Series S can do. So there'll be the 60 frames modes. There'll be the ray tracing if it's possible with the software on the PS5. But
did they do that with Deathloop? Did they do that with Deathloop because the contract was up, so they could do it?
Yeah, but there was still a parity clause. So even if the contract is up as far as the software being over there, I would still see that they're going to push the hardware, because even look at Psychonauts 2. There was no PS5 at launch. So the hardware aspect, once it's first party, they'll put the extra effort to get the stuff above, the standard or the base. Now it's not going to be something where they push the PS5 to like 50 frames and it's at like 1080p, and then the Xbox is going to be like 4K all the time and 120 frames.
No, we're not saying they're going to dumb down the PlayStation version,
right?
I'm just saying I want them to take full advantage of what's here for the Xbox.
Yeah, and I don't foresee them not using those advantages. It's just that it may not be pushed as much like during the whole Xbox One X time frame. Like sometimes, even though it wasn't a marketed property for Xbox, like Red Dead Redemption, word eventually got out that it is way better on the Xbox One X than it was on the PS4 Pro. So it's just a matter of time, but I would expect that they are going to, even with a parity clause, still use the hardware to the fullest, because then if a regulator or regulators have anything to say about it, it's like, well, they don't have ray tracing hardware on the PS5. It's software enabled. So we went with this approach for the software. Since ours is hardware based, it's more like XYZ PC level type of item.
Yeah, you could argue that you can't have parity because the hardware is different.
Right.
Which is part of those parity clauses.
Yeah. I feel like in practice, it's going to be really hard to prove in a lot of cases, as long as they're putting a good effort to bring a good product to PlayStation. It's going to be hard to prove malpractice at any point.
Yeah. And they've got a few extra chips too, if you really want to think about this, because they could offer Sony to put haptics in the game, which Xbox does not have. They could go down that path of talking to Sony about a VR version, which has been recently brought up as well. And they, Microsoft doesn't have that. So they could give them a couple extra chips in there and just say, look, we're going to have parity. It's going to run well, but we're going to take full advantage of our hardware, but we're going to take full advantage of your hardware too. We're going to put the haptics in there. We're going to talk about the VR, right? You know what I'm saying? Kind of a give and take situation.
Bethesda likes to put all their games on VR. So it's like.
Right. And it's going to expand the market. And Microsoft has got to look at VR as an opportunity at some point, right? So why not get into the development of games if VR takes off and you hop in that space?
Is Skyrim on PSVR 1?
I think Skyrim, Fallout 4, maybe like a Wolfenstein or Doom. I think
Doom. I think Doom is.
Yeah.
Maybe I could be wrong, but yeah. So
these are also VR on PC as well, like Flight Sim.
Correct.
So
correct.
It's just a matter of, I wouldn't say it's a matter of flicking a switch at that point, but all of the work would not go for naught. It would be something that they could always tap into at whenever they choose to,
Because if the VR space becomes big, right, Fuzzy, then they've already got established franchises ready to rock and roll. Some of the biggest names that they've already proven that they can do VR in, right?
The thing with like Microsoft Flight Sim VR, though, it's not like true VR. You're just kind of like replicating the screen, like in your, it's like,
I thought the actual in cockpit is head movement. It's not like
I mean, it's not like a game that's specifically built for VR is what I mean. It's like they kind of just added that afterthought. It's like, oh, we can do this, so it's like, let's put it in there.
The other side of parity, though, is beyond performance. It's content parity, which PlayStation's been getting deals for content, exclusive deals a lot with Call of Duty for a long time. Does this potentially open the door for that as well? I mean, Microsoft already said they're not going to do that, but that was before the CMA completely changed and flip-flopped on this thing. So exclusive skins or exclusive like characters like they have now is in PlayStation. It's like I was talking about earlier. So like, is that on the table now with the CMA backing down and removing Sony as a main issue with this?
I think if it only ties to Xbox already owned IP. So perfect example would be like having a Master Chief skin in Call of Duty. They can't technically offer that over the PlayStation. I mean, they could say, hey, you could offer Kratos, but I could see.
Yeah, we've seen that in games before, like Rocket League. Like in Rocket League, you have a Gears of War truck, and then in like Nintendo, you have like a Metroid car or some shit, and then like PlayStation,
Fortnite, they do it too, like Master Chief.
And you can't
Soul Calibur back in the day as well.
Yeah, and you can't see those, like even if you play with like crossplay, you can't see that vehicle in the Xbox version. Like if you played on PlayStation, you couldn't see the Gears car in PlayStation. So like they hide it, but you still get it like exclusive.
They hide that? That's weird, man.
Yeah,
Like,
if you play cross-platform, you can't see the other players' like exclusive card.
what?
What does it do? Just go to a generic skin? on
It's
the
just
field?
default
Okay.
card.
That's so
Yeah.
stupid. Why not just
That
show the
is stupid.
cars?
It's the same way with Call of Duty. Like you can't see the PlayStation exclusive skin if you're playing on the Xbox version.
Because
Really?
it's because people are like, oh my god, how do I get that? And they find that they can't have it. Then it's like,
oh, I guess I got to go to the store and buy a PlayStation though. Like if I get this skin because I just saw that guy and he killed me and I want to be him. You know?
that's the
crazy.
thing. It's like if you see a skin or whatever, then someone could be like, oh, that's not fair. How is that? Blah blah blah. And instead of having issues and all that, it's easier just to make it not visible on the opposing platform. So it's just they can stay out of legal trouble. If trust me, people do stupid shit to sue, try to get money. So it's probably something that happened at one point, and this is what they decided to go with, is not to show opposing skins to with cross platform. So
yeah,
it's just
I
shit.
blame Elder Scrolls horse armor.
It all started with Elder Scroll.
This is a pretty damn big deal today. So I think that this was the
Pixel,
biggest hurdle, right?
Yeah. And Pixelbit, I do agree with the VR. It wouldn't just be a PSVR 2 offering. Like they would make it. They would start putting everything on PC, all the PC VRs and everything like that too. It would not be like a Sony only VR version of the game. They would definitely be developing for everything. I agree with you there.
They're not going to limit their pot to one platform.
Yeah, and Shane G as well. You're right. Again, why offer them anything other than to look like the good guys, which is something Microsoft has been doing for a very long time. Now we've seen it time and time again when many of us have been like, man, I just wish Microsoft would fight back. I wish they would do this. So, like I said, I wish Dark Phil would show up. I would absolutely love it. Like I said, I would be Dark Phil if I had his position. But that's why I don't run the company. But I'm saying that you're right. They don't have to if it's not a part of the remedies. And, the CMA and the EC are passing this without any of those included at all. Then absolutely, they don't have to. And I wouldn't. If I was Microsoft, hell no. I'd be like back to the 3-year deal. Here you go, Sony. You had your chance at 10 years. Here's 3. Good luck. I certainly would keep them on their toes. So no, but I'm just saying my mindset thinking about what Microsoft's position has been and what they're trying to look at down the road in the future when they're going to be back in front of these regulatory bodies at some point is they're going to continue the nice guy version of Microsoft. Now, again, behind the scenes, does that mean negotiations don't get a little bit tougher? Does that mean that they offer up everything right away? Maybe not behind the scenes, but up front facing, the stuff that we're going to see and find out about in public that they do show that we know about, I think it's going to be the nice guy Microsoft. That's just my opinion. Maybe we'll see a totally different Microsoft. Maybe it will be Dark Phil laughing on stage as he walks away or shreds the 10-year contract in front of Jim. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, dude. This opens up so many different things because I thought that, one thing I didn't anticipate was this early on. Like I've anticipated maybe like it being a concession with PlayStation that was going to do it for the CMA. I didn't anticipate them coming out and saying that argument's irrelevant, now, and PlayStation doesn't really matter to the grand scheme of this deal. They didn't really necessarily say that, but what they said is that they're not focusing on it anymore, right? And what they are focusing on is the cloud stuff, which is the slam dunk, I think. Let's get to a couple super chats here from the amazing chat.
Yeah, new speculator too.
Yeah, I do. I get to him as well. A famous speculator.
Famous one. Yes.
Alvin with a $5 super chat.
Alvin!
CMA also didn't mention subscription services at all. No Game Pass concessions whatsoever. I think they removed that concern a while back, a few weeks back, or maybe a month ago or something. I can't remember exactly when. But they were down to 3 initial challenges. That was one of them. That was the first one to go. PlayStation now is the second one to go. Now it's just the cloud services, which we know that's why Microsoft's going up and signing all these 10-year deals, right? So yeah, that's a hurdle that's doesn't matter. Pixelbit G, $2 super chat. Appreciate you. Says, review Doom Eternal's patch. That's what to expect. So does Doom Eternal have better performance on an Xbox than it does a PlayStation by chance, or is it about the same? It does?
No, it's better.
Better on Xbox.
Okay. Well, there we go. And yes, we do have a new speculator. Welcome to the channel membership, Hargeet Channy, dude. Yeah, Hargeet, bro. One of the smartest guys out there. I love listening to Hargeet on all the shows that he does. Man, this is an interesting day again. But anything else of note from this, like that we're not thinking of? Because, you know, we did allude to this. Now I think we're confident all this deal's going through. Jim's like saying, fuck, what did I do? But who's next, right? We alluded to this a minute ago.
Mm-hmm.
And Microsoft has come out and said this before, that they're not done. Satya Nadella said it. Phil Spencer said it in interviews on broadcast television and on with big time channels and stuff like that. Said, we're not done, right? We're not done shopping around. And everybody else is still shopping. We're shopping. They talked about getting deals done in the other part of the world where they don't have as many studios.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like we saw with the FTC talking about Japan and all these things, not the FTC again, the senator, Democratic senator at a hearing talking about Japan. Is this open the door now after this deal's closed for them to go ahead and strike another one?
I got two thoughts on this. Like, depending on how far east they go, do they go like to Europe that far east where they have an 80-20 market because they know they'll have at least a little more like edge where like consumers talking, so they may be able to grow that a little bit bigger? Or do they go to the like East Asia where it's 4% like against 96% or whatever the hell it is, where it's going to be a lot harder to grow there? Like, you're going to have to invest a lot more there to grow there, whereas Europe, you're going to have to be able to invest less.
Recently, they've already invested quite a bit in Europe with some of these studios. They have some studios in Europe, right? Like,
yeah,
but they only have one, I think, in Japan.
Yeah,
and that's Tango Gameworks. So, to get a foothold in Japan, you could acquire a publisher that has a large foothold in Japan. Somebody that's synonymous with Japan. Somebody that's had a long history. Somebody that has a history with Xbox in the past.
mm-hmm.
Somebody that had a great relationship with Xbox in the past. Maybe
Square Enix?
Nope, not Square. Nope.
Oh.
I'm talking about Sega.
Nintendo got it.
I've seen people say, stop talking about that. That's not good. Nobody wants that. I think people underestimate what Sega is. It's not just Sonic. Bob, would you like to see something like that happen to bolster the Eastern influence on Xbox, or no?
I mean, I feel like it's something that has to happen if we want Xbox to be competitive in like the Japanese and Asian markets. Sega is like, it seems like the first sure thing, just because it's been so tight. Like, the Xbox is basically the Dreamcast too in some ways.
Yeah.
And like Sega and Xbox have always been tight. But honestly, I feel like they already have like a pretty close like partnership already. Where it might be better to acquire someone that might be a little bit more distant. But I don't know how good of an idea it is, but I would love to see Capcom like brought into the fold just out of the games I like to play. But Sega seems likely, but I would love to see a Capcom come in.
Yeah, they almost bought Capcom before.
Yeah.
So it's not unlikely. It's not crazy, you know. Capcom's having a hell of a year right now, though.
Well, also the other thing to note as well, like, we're going into a recession. That means everything is on sale. So, I mean, it's definitely buying season for a company like Microsoft.
Yeah. So who would be on the table, you guys think? Like, I mean, first off, a company has to kind of want to do a deal like this, right? It's not just like, no, please don't buy us, and then they get
Square's
acquired.
the obvious one that's on the table.
Yeah. They're under the table.
Square's struggling. I mean, they're struggling. They don't know what to do.
They're down bad.
They're having their own, like, kicking their own president out and putting somebody else in place. You know, they don't know if they want to make NFT games or video games, or if they want to make what platform they're going to do exclusive next time. You know, they seem like they are kind of lost, kind of like Ubisoft. Not necessarily exactly like that, because Square still puts out games. but Square is down big time. So if you're looking for one that has like the most obtainable, right? Maybe it would be Square, but also the other side to Square is the mobile side, which I think Jasper you pointed that out in the past. They have a huge mobile foothold there in the East, right?
Also, like Microsoft has a big checkbook, so like money's not really an issue for them, so they can go a lot bigger than whatever like 7 billion or whatever Square's valued at. It's like,
so what is the values here? Does somebody want to look up the values for Sega, Capcom, and Square? I mean, Square is probably the lowest, I would think, right?
I think Sega was
Or maybe
somewhere
Capcom
between
is.
6 and 8 billion.
yeah, I thought
cap.
Sega was like 5 billion, like maybe last year or beginning of this year, something like that. So I think Capcom was like 8 or 7. I don't remember, but it's been a while.
Capcom's up to almost 18.
Oh,
18
damn.
or wait, no, that's the share price. 1 second, I'm sorry. Yen. Where's the dollar value?
Yeah, it's harder to look up these Japanese companies. Capcom.
Oh, let me convert
the
19
thing with
yen
Sega though is like they publish a lot of Western games for the Japanese market. So like a lot of Western studios like WB will hire out Sega to publish their game in the Japanese market because they don't have a publisher division in that region.
Right.
Yeah.
What is 1.26 trillion yen?
$9 billion, Al.
Okay. Capcom is about 9 bills, so you'd take about 14 to acquire them.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that, right? Then you look at Sega market cap, Sega Sammy. They're at significantly less. They're like a third of that.
Oh wow.
They're like a third of Square. That's surprising.
Yes, Sega's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Well, they did that whole divesting
Capcom.
stuff and got rid of the arcades, and
Yeah.
they've slimmed down in the appearance that it looked like they were ready for
They got rid of
a
Sammy.
purchase or something like that.
And Square's more than Sega. Square's about 778 billion yen. Sega is about 578 billion yen, and then Capcom is like 1.76 trillion.
I believe also Microsoft was in talks with
trillion.
Microsoft was in the talks with Konami 6 years ago, whatever. So like they could also go back to them, try to make that deal work out.
Yeah. So you want to look at the check boxes for the best fit, in my opinion. Like, what does Microsoft want? They want mobile, right? They want IP, and they want development talent. And they want somebody who has a strong presence, I believe, in the region, right?
And the
Next
philosophy
on.
has to match. Yes. The philosophy has to match,
Yes.
too. That's why Square doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. They take way too
That's
long.
oil and water. Yeah. No.
Yeah, their games take way too long to develop. For something like a Game Pass atmosphere, it just doesn't add up for them. That's why Sony is the better fit, because they have the mobile market. They can get in with that. They make their bangers,
They
their
speak
big
the same
AAA
business
games.
language, right?
Yeah,
That's
they go hand in hand. That marriage is seamless. Xbox, it would not end well. Like,
again, I would love it though, Psycho. I'm sure you would love it. I mean, the world would burn if it ever happened. I mean, like,
because
the meltdowns would be.
There's a lot of Square IP that I like Dragon Quest, and the Secret of Mana and the Mana series. There's a lot of Square stuff. That's why I would rather see Microsoft buy in stock to help them, and this way we can see more
favorable deals.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
and we won't see things skipping Xbox. That's what I would like to see. We don't need an acquisition at every level, but like a big, like we own 49% of Square is something that is good, that will help keep that business going, keep them healthy and develop stuff.
I feel like Sega makes sense, but at the same time, it's like it doesn't make sense because they're already so close. It would be like it's like Paradox. Like they already have such a good
organic, man.
They already have such a good connection that it would be like.
But you don't want a Tencent coming in, Jasper.
Yeah.
Matching
with
because that would be a prime target for Tencent. Like that, Sega's right up their alley, right price point, all that good. Like that's my only fear is if you miss out on Sega, who comes in right at some point does it right.
And what kind of companies is Tencent buying up though? Like
they've been investing
everything.
Yeah, Square. It seems like mainly games as a service,
Square,
though, right?
No, Square, Epic.
They're now invested in Ubisoft, right?
Oh, okay.
Ubisoft.
Yeah,
So
they're the third Ubisoft brother. You know,
they don't like they usually don't outright buy a company. They usually buy a part of the company.
Correct.
Yeah, they invest.
Correct. That's what they do
until they start to fail, and then that's when they call in
when they flip the switch. Then all of a sudden,
discounts.
And then the interesting thing is the Chinese government is now invested into Tencent.
Yeah. They get enough into where they can start getting user data because they're like, hey, we own 30% of this. We need to look at some of this data and be like, oh, this is how many users you got.
Then we just have Congress force them to sell it to Microsoft. Win-win.
That's the interesting point. That's the interesting point in all this, though, is now that because the senator, the Democratic, and we should point out the political party because that's a big thing, right? The Democratic senator who came out, I forget her name off the top of my head. This all happened because there's trade talks happening with Japan, right? And they've got the Japanese delegation here, and that's why this is actually happening. It was kind of a culmination, like a perfect storm scenario that all this was going on, and we so happen to be have the Japanese delegation right here with us. That opens it up for all the people who thought that Japan would be a tough place for Microsoft to buy into. If they're going to take this seriously, and obviously Japan wants a great relationship with the U.S. We've had a great relationship with them for a very long time now, and they don't want to see that fail. Then they're going to have to do something. So what would they do? Well, if they're not going to punish Sony in some way, if they're not going to do that, then what do? You say, okay, well, we'll open the door if one of your American companies wants to come in. Then we're open for that. We're not going to press back against it. So that opens the door for something like Microsoft to walk in. And I think, I agree with Jasper. If it's not Sega, because Sega's philosophies, because of that partnership they've had for so long, because of how they are a more Western stylized Eastern company, they would be a smooth transition and they still have the power of their name over in the East, which is exactly what Microsoft needs. You rebrand them, Xbox Japan, it's an instant win, right? Instant. Like it's Sega, Xbox, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to know them, right? But if you're not going to do Sega and you're looking for somebody underneath the radar, then again, I've agreed with Jasper since he brought this up last year. Nexon is the one, right? And when we were talking about this, Nexon is the company I would love to see under the radar, slowly but surely gaining momentum. They're not on the scene as this big company. People aren't going to go, oh my God, why are they buying Nexon? But again, that company started in South Korea, moved their headquarters to Japan last year. Now you've got both territories because South Korea is going to be a big spot too, especially if you bring back StarCraft, boys and girls. They still playing competitively over South Korea.
They got a lot of big games coming out this year. Their name's going to be spreading.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's what you want to do in a company like that. So.
Hargeet earlier had said that he doesn't think Sony has the capital to buy Square.
No, they would have to raise.
Yeah,
they would have to raise.
So that's interesting.
Which they could. Well, Sony Corp would probably do it.
No, I was going to say the whole funny thing is when people talk about Take-Two and Sony, it's like where the math doesn't add up. Where are they getting this crazy idea?
Yeah, hopes and dreams.
La La Land.
They could take out a loan. They've already got huge debt.
Sony can do what Atari just did and give them like half their fucking shares.
Because what they hear is that Sony is $88 billion, so they can buy anything up to that. That's what they think. Well, that's a $2 trillion company. So 88 billion, they could buy anything on, that's underneath that 88 billion. People don't realize that they have a certain amount of cash unless they want to sell some of their equity into
there's so many ways they could organize that deal. Like with the one that Atari just did, that shit was so like complicated just to buy one small studio. It's like $10 million, 10% of our shares, and $10 million over the next 10 years if you perform good.
I'm surprised Atari even came up with that.
Yeah, dude, I still can't get over that Sony shopping list though, where it was just like, who's Sony gonna acquire now?
Everybody.
See that? That was
it's gonna be Sony gobbling up everybody, becoming a monopoly at this point. That's how
they're like, we have $5.
Yeah.
Yes, go. You better go to the Dollar
We wasted
General.
it all bribing all these legal entities.
Here's an IOU. You're gonna want to hold on to this one.
Harky
On a
Channy.
pre-order for a PS6.
I bought you a CD in the bank. Just hold on to it for a couple of years.
Oh my god. Hargy Chaney with a $5 super chat said, from a culture perspective, do you think Bobby Kotick is a fit with Phil? Just saying.
Oh
No.
no, that's why Bobby Kotick is gone.
Yeah. No,
That's why
not
he's
at all.
gone.
Golden
And I know what you're saying.
Parachute
I know what you're
City.
saying, Hargeet, is that if they bought somebody like Square, certainly they could make changes at the top and try to change it. But we've seen them. Activision was a once in a lifetime opportunity, right? That's why they took it. On a normal day, would it have been something that he did? No, I don't think so. But again, because of everything that was going on, because they were devalued, Xbox said we got to make this move, right? And we're gonna get rid of Bobby. We're gonna give him this golden parachute and get him out of
So
here.
I like the
Hopefully.
Capcom thing because I think it would be like amazing.
Yeah,
But
I've
like,
got my wish list, Capcom,
yeah.
Bandai Namco. Oh my Bandai.
I mean, that
oh,
RE engine. I mean,
Oh yeah.
fuck yes.
Add that RE. Oh,
Yeah, but my heart also loves the Sega aspect there too. You know what I mean? You could do so much with that. And Crystal Dynamics. Not sorry. Fuck. I always do this. I do this
Creative
every
Assembly.
time. Yes, Creative Assembly. Every single time I say fucking Crystal. Creative Assembly alone for me would be like
Oh
a
yeah.
huge
PC
hit.
side, it would be huge. Total
because
War.
they do so much support for different games. They make their own big games. They like strategy lovers. I mean, they got and then also got Relic as part of that too, right? So I mean, you talk about things that Microsoft could really do with some of these studios because people just think of Sega as like Japan, but it's well more than that. You know what I mean?
Western.
There's a lot of other stuff that benefits things. So, but then the other part of me is like, okay, now let's forget about the whole East thing, right? Let's forget about the easier acquisition. Well, easier and to maybe get through some of the regulators here because of they're viewing the market shares and the 98%, all that shit, right?
Mhm.
Easier for that perspective, but for me, harder to maybe get past in Japan. But for here, I'm looking at the one that's still in the back of my mind. And Pong knows where I'm going with this. I already see him shaking his head. I'm just saying, you got to swing for the fences, baby. Right? WB Discovery is, who knows what the hell's happening there right now? Come on. We got so much
I think they're
mismatched
rolling in that
stuff.
Harry Potter money. They're
You know,
like, oh, we can make games now.
Supposedly, like, it's an underhanded thing. They're already going to go to Universal after, like, they're allowed to or whatever. I'm just saying, man, go for it. Just fucking go all in on this shit. Bring Batman to Xbox. You know, have your own fucking streaming services as well. You can put all your IPs on. HBO, DC licenses. You got fucking NetherRealm making fighting games, right? Yeah, I mean, God, there's so many boxes that get checked with WB Discovery. Wish list wise, oh, dude, all those games in Game Pass, that would be amazing. They're making a Wonder Woman game over there now as well. I mean, just do me one favor. If you make this happen, tell Rocksteady to stop making the shit that they're making right now and make them Batman games again. Yeah, let's go. No takers on this, WB Discovery?
Oh, of course. You already know.
Oh.
We had whole shows on this topic, Mav.
Yeah,
fucking
we
go.
were
If
talking
they could
about
take the
even
whole WB license and all.
Everything.
Yes.
Just buy the whole fucking
That's-
thing. You know what I mean?
well, that's a discovery, you know, because we even talked about this on Fun Pop because we were like, if Xbox is trying to get into with the whole delivery service with streaming, like getting into, because we saw the Halo TV show.
Transmedia.
They, Sony has the anime market monopolized, by the way, or duopoly, should say, right? Duopoly, because they have both.
Well, no, they have
Anime.
everything.
They have
so they have
monopoly.
Yeah, it's still
monopoly.
They have monopoly. Duopoly
Okay.
is if there's two main players like Apple and Google.
The only thing is, like, there are
Okay,
other
so-
streaming platforms, like Netflix has the anime stuff, and other
No, it's not the same.
Amazon Prime.
It's not the
has-
same. Because there are certain there's certain animes you cannot
I know,
get.
I know.
Only
They have
with-
the main two
Crunchyroll.
dedicated anime.
yes,
streaming
Funimation and fucking Crunchyroll. How that was allowed is baffling, by the way. That they didn't say, hey, you're trying to get both streaming
Because
services.
nobody takes anime serious. That's why.
Yeah. Nobody looked at it.
well,
Nobody.
Cartoons.
Well, now, again, then
Also, you can make a
makes
case
sense.
that, like,
You know how many people
you
you
can make
just
a case
That's why-
that
that's why
you can make a
WB
case that
best.
Cartoon Network counts as anime just because, like, the actual term of anime is animation, so it's just creating moving pictures or whatever.
And
so it's
Disney.
yeah.
But Japanese.
I know, but I'm
Japanese,
just saying there's an argument that could be made that's
Yeah.
like it's not a
So,
monopoly.
but for a Asian centric animation, they got both. So they got a monopoly on that. So with WB being on Xbox, they'll have the Western as front with, at least with the, because DC animation is probably one of the best comic book animation with story, and not really it's not the realistic look, but it's more of it's a great story. So if they try to get on that side of WB with the movies, TV shows, streaming, that makes sense with Xbox, if that's where they're looking further in the future, because that's the one thing Xbox or Sony has over Xbox, is that they can offer their movies into a PlayStation Plus with, as a la carte types, so that you can, if you want to watch Sony movies 30 days after whatever, PS Plus, here's a streaming plan that you can get. You can watch movies 30 days after the theater releases. Xbox doesn't have that. You know what I'm saying? There's things that they could do. They can offer they can do Crunchyroll or Funimation into their PS Plus. Xbox doesn't have that. So they can benefit and give their subscribers something that Xbox doesn't have. But for some reason, they're not hopping on that. They're not, they don't want to, I think price wise, they don't want to do that. But if you offer it for a couple bucks, you get more people into that service. And especially if you do it for, let's say, if you offer it for their fucking premium edition, that, whatever, I forget what it's called, for you only could stream your classic games. If they offered that for $20 instead of 18, I think it is right now, then you get more people into that service. So
let me throw another thing out there. I don't know if this is even possible, because I'm like
CDPR.
No, I'm just an ignorant guy. I don't understand a lot of this business stuff.
Sony might go after CDPR.
Yeah. What about a Chinese publisher? It can't happen.
Won't happen.
Chinese
government won't let out.
Just won't allow it, because I was looking at the was it the Hoyo, the Hoyomi or whatever, whoever make Hoyoverse. They make a Genshin Impact. They have all these other things. And when I look at that publisher, I'm like, man, that would have been a great fit. You know what I mean?
China would take their money, but they won't allow them to do much with it. Like Google's had that problem.
They won't allow them to own it. They won't. The Chinese government would be like, no, you're not taking it.
No, because no.
What if they move to the U.S.?
Well,
then it gets acquired.
Well,
Microsoft
if they're allowed to move.
You guys want to relocate? I don't know.
Oh yeah, China will be like, yeah, we'll relocate a couple special agents over.
Yeah.
Yep.
Step out of
They
line.
give us those Microsoft
they wound
passwords. Let's go.
with the fishes.
Yeah. Just look at that's a very up and coming publisher that's doing a lot of big things, and it's just going to get bigger. And looking at what the future holds for them is probably pretty
even like stuff that's already here. Like they're talking about banning TikTok. Like they just brought the CEO to like in front of Congress like yesterday or something. So,
so you move.
Can the Xbox connect to the Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
So you move to the U.S. You do business. The government tries to shut you down, and then Microsoft bails them out by buying them. But like what they were trying to do with TikTok before, remember? That'd be interesting. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't think that there's. Do we think there is another publisher, or do we think it's just developers that get like studios?
If they go to Japan, they're going for probably publisher.
Yeah.
They could. What I would love to see is a Bandai Namco. For Japan, because their
their price though is so high right now.
I think Bandai Namco's too safe right now with their investments. They're not looking for anything.
Yeah,
And they got a huge toy section too, which is a problem.
Yeah.
That they won't.
But I'm not
invest
saying
Yeah.
this is we're talking about what we would like to see, right?
Yeah, of course.
Not
Yeah.
so. I would like to
100%.
see Bandai. Like
That's
Sega makes sense. Sega does make sense for that foothold into that market. But Sega also has toys. Sega used to have their arcade, but they sold it. I think they didn't sell it off, but they closed it down, correct? So they don't have that. They won't have that part of that. So, and their Sega side, they do have a lot of IPs that they, Dragon Force. They have what the fuck is it called? Shining Force is the Shining Force.
Yeah.
Dragon Force, Shining Force,
Shining Force.
And Dragon. They have a Dragon Force as well, and I would like to see they could revise some of these older titles, and bring some of those games, because I could only imagine like a Dragon Force, Shining Force, new IP into the series. That'd be great.
Thinking about it, like Sega kind of makes more sense too because it's cheap, so your investment risk isn't too bad. Like if it doesn't play off, but your potential gain is really high there.
Yeah,
so that would be
think about the influx of money too, right, Jasper? Giving Sega an influx of Microsoft money to be able to start building up their teams bigger again, start going back to the older IP, like Psycho was just bringing up, like that would be where,
because like Microsoft is going to look at, like, if we spend $50 billion here, our return on investment, it's going to take us fucking 25 years to get that shit back. Yeah. So they're like, if we just spend 5 and buy Sega, like we can probably get that back in 5 years.
And make their games even crazier.
Yes. Yes. Give Atlas more money. Expand Atlas out so they can make JRPGs till they're blue in the face.
That's
right?
part. Yeah, Atlas is a huge part of that. Yeah, you get fighting games too. You can bring back Virtua Fighter. As well.
Virtua Fighter.
I mean, but they
Virtua Fighter would be nice.
They also do licensed games. They did that Demon Slayer game last year, right? As well. And I mean, Sega checks so many different boxes, and it is such a good fit. And I understand the whole thing. Well, they already have a good relationship. They already do games, a lot of games like Game Pass Day One or come to Game Pass, and that they already have that deal with the cloud and all that stuff. But like for when we talked about them originally with that thing, it was like, okay, then just that partnership's getting stronger. That makes it more likely for me that it could lead to an acquisition down the line, as opposed to not, right?
Yeah.
So do you think developers or publisher, Bob? You think that it's still on the table?
I think it's along the same lines what everyone else is thinking. Like if it's a United States company, like more likely publisher or developers individually. Yeah. But if they do want to take a big swing and go for Japan, which arguably is probably strategically what makes the most sense, then definitely I would say the publishers are still on the table.
Yeah. You get Sonic out of it too, and that's a popular IP.
He's fast,
right?
He's fast and he's blue.
Transcends into the movies and stuff as well. Right?
Have Sonic team up with Crash.
Yeah.
The combos would be insane.
Yeah.
The IP that they would own at that point.
It already is insane.
Yeah, it already is.
With this looking like
the kid side of things, the family side of things, you got Spyro, you got Crash, you got Sonic. I mean, the list goes on. That's a stupid amount.
I would like to see them give Viva Pinata to Sega and see what they could do with that.
Oh yeah, because Phil Spencer has mentioned that he would love to see more E-rated games, and everyone's like, "Boo! What the fuck? Why?" But at the end of the day, when you have parents buying Game Pass, oh, they got this, and this, sure, and then they see a family plan. Oh, I can buy this. I could buy a Series S for myself, and little Johnny could play on his the fucking laptop or his iPad, wherever the fuck he wants to play Roblox. Boom, and you got a whole family now in gaming.
That's a company they should look at buying. Roblox.
Yeah,
well, it's already exclusive.
Actually, rumor has it they're in talks.
They were, weren't they, Fuzz, before they went public, right?
They were before they went public, but after that bank thing, I think they're in talks again.
Okay, because I The
That would be
last I had
huge.
heard was after the evaluation of like whatever it was 40 billion or something stupid, whatever the
Mhm.
crazy that they had backed off of it. But
Have you
Yeah.
seen the games that they've created in Roblox? Like
Yes.
they remade like that Call of Duty version,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
absolutely insane.
is Microsoft should actually invest in Epic more.
Yeah,
They
with
should-
the new Fortnite shit, that's going to be the
Yeah,
next Roblox and Minecraft.
Because Sony's
like-
investing with Epic, I think Xbox needs to get in there and put money in that pool so that Sony doesn't start
I think they're already
Creeping.
invested. It's just that it's not like this
Yeah.
big public
public
announcement
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
They're
That's possible.
I would have to say they're probably a bigger customer or one of Epic's biggest
Well, yeah,
customers.
many goddamn Unreal Engine licenses they have to buy.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
But I think Sony's investment hopefully at some point pays off from the PC side of things, but they're just dragging their feet with this whole, from
Right.
PlayStation to PC deal.
Well, they gotta appease their fanboys because they would fucking freak out if they went to PC day and date. They're like a year later, they're okay with it, but any sooner than that, fuck, they got no exclusive. I mean, that's the whole fucking stupid reason that all these fucking idiots went over to PlayStation, because Xbox games were started going day and date to PC. So
Fuck.
it's fucking bullshit, fucking motherfucking cocksucking fucks.
Demonetized.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Speaking of that, this episode is brought to you by Manscaped.com.
We can no longer afford an Xbox.
Let me get to this sponsorship before because I keep forgetting to do it. But spring has sprung, and our friends at Manscaped have the best tools for some spring cleaning. They've already helped you tidy up the nooks and crannies of your body's basement, but this year, Manscaped can help you get the perfect presentation on that beautiful face with the new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. Make sure you look your best this spring by using code FUNSPECULATION to get 20% off, plus free shipping at manscaped.com. Again, that's 20% off and free shipping with the code FUNSPECULATION at manscaped.com. Focus on the face and use the Beard Hedger Pro Kit for the cleanest look in the game. Everybody, it's amazing stuff. Get shaved. Get smooth. Like
I
Use it
thought you
tonight.
said
Use it today.
I
Yeah.
thought you said lick yourself the best. I'm like, what the fuck?
lick yourself the best. It's
That
much
too.
It's a much more enjoyable experience if you're Manscaped.
The stubble's
We ain't
less
lying.
sharp.
Whoa.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey guys, did you see this stuff going on about Redfall? Everybody thought that Phil was lying again. Because they canceled the PS5 early development version.
What?
Sucks to suck.
What happened?
Took it away. They took it away. Yeah, they took it away.
They took something away from PlayStation gamers.
Yep.
They were developing Redfall for PlayStation, the game that PlayStation gamers.
Oh,
have
Here's
said
how
is
far
gonna
along they got
suck.
in development with that. Is they're like, hey, we're gonna make a new game. It's gonna come out to all modern consoles. That's as far as they got in development for PlayStation with it.
Yeah. Stupid fucking idiots on fucking Twitter. I swear to God. Listen, the game was never offered or announced for PS5. Get over it. End of fucking story. Shut the fuck up. Move on. Play your single player games that you
But
love
it
so
was
much.
in active development, Psycho. Doesn't
I
that
don't give
mean
a-
anything to you?
So was where was it?
Starfield?
Stellar
Well,
Blade.
not Starfield.
Stellar
Straight
Blade.
Stellar
Blade.
Blade.
Stellar Blade.
Yeah.
Stellar Blade. Possibility that Final Fantasy VII remake was also has a development game for Xbox, but we don't know. But at the end of the day, nor do these fucking idiots on Twitter. They don't know either. So they just need to shut the fuck up. I'm goddamn sick and tired of these assholes.
Yeah, there's a lot of salt the last 2 days or 3 days going on right now. Because I mean, this week has been insane, right? You have the Redfall thing, right? Was like, oh, you mean we were gonna get Redfall, and I've been talking shit about it for months. Now I don't.
Yeah.
Now I gotta act like I'm disappointed or that I care because
Well,
I found
I
out that
thought-
we could have potentially got it.
I thought the argument was that it didn't look that good, and now the argument's like, oh, we don't get it.
Well, how brain dead do you have to be to understand that you probably would have gotten Redfall if they weren't acquired by Microsoft? I mean, yes,
Makes
that was
sense.
an obvious
Well, they
thing,
thought they were
you
getting
know?
Halo when Sony bought Bungie, so
That's
this is
true.
kinda-
That is true.
That's
That's how idiotic
true.
they are.
That's true.
Sorry.
I forgot about that. But besides that, also, man, Hellblade 2.
Yeah.
At this Unreal Engine demo, I finally had time to watch that whole thing.
I was a little confused on that. Like, I get that it's Hellblade, but was that just a thing for the meta
Yeah,
thing?
it was
So,
Yeah,
like,
just a tech
yeah,
demo
it's
for
just-
humans.
That wasn't graphics. That was the woman in real time.
Yeah.
I saw somebody say that was
More
not
smart
real.
people.
That was just
Yeah.
they didn't watch that.
That's what Fuzzy just said.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
What the
I'm
fuck?
reiterating. on
doubling
it.
down.
Hey, I
He's
just,
doubling
I
down.
just
You were
heard
not
it. Someone said
reiterating.
this.
You said
Yeah,
I
it was-
saw.
No,
You were not reiterating.
I was saying, yeah, I saw that.
That's not how you put it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I saw, but I saw what Fuzzy saw. Let me clarify. Yeah, I saw that thing that Fuzzy saw on Twitter where the guy
Hey guys,
said
you
that it
want
was
to
just
go to
the
my
actor.
instance over here? I got an instance.
I heard it, and I'm gonna say it louder.
Yeah, but no, Fuzzy, you're right. Let me not interrupt you. You want to explain what you saw, Fuzz?
No, there was what's his name? I don't like using people's name, but he has
Mr. Hart.
8K in the end
Mr.
of his
Hart.
name.
It's fine. Mr. Hart.
Yeah, Mr.
Yeah.
Hart. So it's like, how did you not realize that? Okay, I understand it's the whole meta-human thing with the Unreal Engine and so forth, but they explained prior to the trailer how you can digitize things without having the actual cameras or the sensors and all that on your face now. So but
They
hey.
did it on stage.
Yeah.
What the fuck were they not watching? That's the thing that is baffling. It's like, okay, if you're watching this, you'd have known that they were taking
I
whatever
think the thing is, it's like it's not
from a,
technically Hellblade stuff. It's just it's a meta
It's
thing that they were
meta-humans.
using. Yeah, but they were
it was
using the
the
meta thing
actress-
to advertise.
it's the
Hellblade.
mocap actress from Ninja Theory. So but that is like the one thing, because they've been working side by side, because every time MetaHumans has been introduced, it's always been with Ninja Theories, either with her or somebody else. So it's fucking baffling.
But there's
Why
two-
these goddamn idiots?
I love how we go through a show and you can tell when the uppers have kicked in for Psycho.
Yes. But there was two parts to this whole presentation for me. The one
Yeah.
that's
He
everywhere
went-
on Twitter, right?
Mhm.
And then there was the one that was before that. The one that was before that was the onstage demo presentation where they just showed how the meta stuff works. The second thing that everybody saw was something that was produced like ahead of time and made ahead of time by Ninja Theory, right? Like, so is it going to be 100% what we see in the game? Probably not. But we also owe Ninja Theory the benefit of the doubt when it comes to mocap and graphics within these games. And to say that it's not going to look anywhere near that, we've already seen the fucking gameplay at the Game Awards. We've already seen the original trailer. To say that that's that far off of that's not. You know what I mean? Like, it looks pretty similar with what we're seeing with what we saw actually at that demo.
Using that tech.
That's what they're doing.
That's-
Exactly.
yes.
That's why they presented it. So it's
Right.
like, and they even said that on the stage.
Right.
They said when they were like, this is, and this we've created for the use at Ninja Theory for their game Hellblade 2. They like, Epic actually said that, right? So they're talking about all of this stuff. They show it, but people still can't believe that it's real because it's too damn
It doesn't
good.
have the power of the SSD.
Yeah.
You can't
They
do
don't
this
have
without that SSD. What you talking about? You got to have like 18,000 million gigawatts on the speed of that SSD to be able to do something like that. No. Man, I don't get it. Like, the salt this week was already immense because this has been a very positive week for Xbox. First off, Redfall, a lot of positive people talking about it after their preview, right? Then you have the Hellblade presentation, and then out of nowhere now, the CMA 180 on this thing. PlayStation doesn't matter anymore. It's been crazy this week, but it's going to be even crazier because the next couple weeks, we got news for you, everybody. According to What's his name? Frank Shaw, who is the let's see, what is his role? He's currently lead communications for Microsoft.
Yeah.
He made a tweet today. It says, hate to break it to the reporters who cover Microsoft, who are a bit tired after the last 2 weeks, but next week is coming and we're not slowing down. So now this could be more than just
it's Sonic. He's buying Sega.
This could be more than just
They're not slowing
Xbox.
down.
It could be the chat GPT stuff, or it could be whatever. It could be anything.
It could be new deals with more cloud
I
gaming
think
services and all
that's
that kind of
what
stuff.
it's going to be. Maybe Luna would it be? That would be fucking huge.
We talked about that, right? The Amazon.
Yeah.
That'd be a huge deal. Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
And then
'Cause that
Google's
would
gonna be
wipe
like,
out
"Hey,
any
we're bringing back Stadia."
opposition.
Yeah.
We just made a deal with our biggest competitor in the cloud space.
Yeah.
Period.
Yes.
Hands down.
Yeah, Luna is
Luna on that
that's
list?
their main competitor.
Luna
No,
was on the CMA's list.
Yes. Yes, it was.
Okay.
It's going to get done. I
Oh
bet.
yeah, that's probably what they were probably waiting on the most. Like they were probably
And-
holding that in the back pocket.
And don't forget, Amazon also announced that Luna's coming to Europe and stuff this coming up here now as well, because it hasn't been over there. So they're expanding out with Luna.
Oh, there you
Also,
go.
Amazon's
yeah.
since Amazon's one of the biggest competitors, that deal's going to have to be a lot more talked out over like contracts and stuff, just getting all that
Correct.
done. So it's going to take a lot longer to get that done with a lot more money involved. And
Agreed, but I think it would be the biggest move if they do pull it out. It's the biggest piece. Like that ends anything, because that is their main competitor in the actual cloud space with AWS versus Azure. Like they are in an
Correct.
absolute throwdown battle to try to gain market share over AWS, because AWS is so dominant. So if you're going to cut a deal with somebody like that, that shows what your true intentions are.
Yeah.
That you're not trying to foreclose on anybody. You're not trying to do anything shady. Like we just did a deal with our enemy. How about that?
Yeah.
Like flat out.
And we know Google's challenges were all dismissed already. They don't even have a real streaming
Wow.
platform anymore. So
Anything Google says, they're like, "Yeah, we don't listen to you, fuckers."
yeah, let's make a deal with Stadia. Oh wait,
Lord Roughness,
They might bring it back.
Lord Roughness member for 20 months says, how
Shout
awesome
out to
is
Lord
gaming
Roughness.
in 2023 so far? Pretty fucking epic. I'll say that. And another £5 super chat from Lord Roughness. Appreciate you. Said, I would like Xbox to go after just a developer after ABK. Maybe IO Interactive or Rebellion.
Certain
I-
Affinity is going to be number one on that
Yeah.
list.
It says
Yes.
Hitman or Sniper Elite. Yeah, both of those studios would be really cool. IOI has got some really cool stuff coming ahead.
And they're a great freaking studio.
Yeah, they are.
Just fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
studio. They would fit right in.
Yeah,
Love it.
they'll probably do another 4 or 5 developer run like they did in 2017, I believe.
Susan,
No, 2018, but yeah, I think they're gonna do five developers, and then they'll go after like Sega after that.
A few years, a
the,
couple years.
the Sousa, the Sousa said no deal with Amico and Tommy Tallarico, so I'm not sold. Tommy Tallarico is no longer part of the company anymore, but Amico may actually happen. There may be people that have it in their hands, actually playing it, but we'll see if it ever actually hits shelves. Bob, you're amazing. And I
Thank
got to
you
be
for having me.
I got to be honest. All I want to do is play Diablo right now, and that's all I'm thinking about while we're talking about all the
Wait,
CMA stuff.
We
You're
can
a
talk about
gamer,
Diablo.
Mav, you're like a gamer. You like
You
wanna
actually
play
like
games? You don't want to
games?
sit around and
Yeah.
bullshit all the time.
Well, I'm gonna
My favorite game was arguing on Twitter, to be honest with you guys.
I'm gonna do something a little unorthodox. I want to check on my queue. We'll keep the show going for as long as. Ooh, do y'all
The
hear
show
that
goes on
Xbox
until
sound?
Diablo cooperates.
I got booted before. I had to requew.
If
Did
you
you
ponies
really?
want this podcast to
It's
end, you
solid
better get
now,
out of the queue.
All right.
I am gonna check on the queue. I'm curious how long it is. I'm literally doing that right now. I'm not joking. But besides that, I was kidding about sticking around until that though. But like I do want to get on and play Diablo. I want to maybe have a little bit of a regular 2-hour show tonight, because guess what? We had a blast hitting up the CMA stuff, and this is a big day for Xbox. I think we got a lot of awesome stuff to look forward to. I want to have a fun night playing Diablo. I'm probably gonna be streaming everybody. So if you want to hang out for later for a Diablo stream, come watch here on the channel. Bob, are you going to be playing tonight?
Yeah, I'll play some Diablo.
Right on, dude.
I had a 1 minute queue.
1 minute?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
fixing it again.
Yeah, I heard a lot of
It's
people are
already
getting
fixed.
just under 1 minute queues now.
Oh my god.
gotta
I just still can't
transpire it
believe.
up.
Wait, hold on. Sorry, I know you're trying to get Bob out of here too. An hour and a half after they went live today, that tweet that they said they had more concurrent players than they did all last weekend,
Dude,
it was blowing my mind. An hour and a half after they launched. This game is going to be gigantic. First party Xbox banger.
No one
Kids,
wanted to go to
let's go.
KFC.
Banger.
It's a 1 minute queue. All right.
Oh my god,
But
awesome.
Bob, where can everybody find you, bro?
You can find me on Twitch. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Xbox with 2 D's on the end. But Game Pass Dad everywhere. I like to party.
Right on, man. You do like
me
to party.
too.
Yeah, but I gotta say, your Twitch content is absolutely amazing. You have great stuff on YouTube as well. You love everything you do. I hope that you keep growing and keep finding new people and stuff because one of the good ones. And
Yeah, I appreciate
I love having you here. And again, open invite any Friday. You're free, man. Just
I've been having more free Fridays, so I'm definitely gonna stop by more often. I appreciate you letting me hang out.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. Why so serious as Mavs kicking us out?
You don't have to go
He's
home,
over.
but you can't stay.
Ugly lights are on, everybody.
No,
Let's go
Get
home.
the
Let's
fuck
go home.
out. It's Diablo
Ugly
time.
lights are on.
Well, I'm gonna send look out for a tweet and stuff because I'll make a post for the Diablo stream shortly. So if you want to watch the gameplay, well, a lot of us are gonna be in the party chit chatting and bullshitting. So if you want some of the same conversations, I'm sure a lot
Lilith
of you
is
have
rolling through.
right on. Yeah, special guest Lilith. You may not be the same after she's on the show, though. Depends on how you take what she says. Fuzzy Belvedere, where can everybody find you, bro?
Oh man, thank you for having me as well. Man, you can hear my rambles, rants, and everything I laugh at on Twitter at fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me on the Shop Podcast tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Pong and PTK Blam. And then Monday we'll be on FSP right here on this channel, Fun Speculation Network. Look forward to seeing you guys there 10 p.m. Monday.
Right on, man. Appreciate you. Psycho, what about you, sir?
Chat, what a fucking fantastic evening it today has been. Thank you for coming out. It's always a blast. Game Pass Dad, awesome to have you on the show tonight. It's always fun because you bring in some great takes, and we love having you here, brother.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to pop your Diablo cherry.
Whoa.
So,
Oh, wow.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
so anyways, you find me everywhere, Psychonauts8 on social media. You can
1
find
minute
me.
left.
There you go. You can find me Mondays, FSP, 10 o'clock, and Friday, 10 o'clock, Xbox Ultimate. And enjoy your weekend. Don't forget, check out LSS tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock.
Right on. Appreciate you, Psycho. Jasper, what about you, bro?
Yo, check it out. Lore Master Jasper on YouTube. I just dropped a new Starfield video breaking down what they got right about Alpha Centauri and what they got wrong about it. They moved the planets. I'll just say that. And then
his name is God Howard, Jasper. He can do that.
Yeah, he has the power.
okay.
I have the
We'll take it. And then Lord Jasper Twitter, AI Game News Twitter. Check those places out. And Monday, Friday, 10 o'clock right here, Fun Speculation Channel. 10 o'clock, Monday, Friday, right here.
Right on, man. Appreciate you, Jasper. Pong Soul.
You
What
know
about
it.
you?
You know it. Diablo's running great right now, folks. Got kicked out once, back in. So hop on in. It's time to go meet Mother because I missed her. I already made a post about it. Anyways, you guys all have a great weekend, obviously. Awesome to be here. And Game Pass Dad, again, it's fantastic. You're going to be able to start hanging out with us on Friday nights, man. You do bring the laughs and you bring the good takes. So join us whenever you can.
Appreciate you.
It's awesome to have you. And so everybody else, have a fantastic night. You know the drill. Tomorrow morning, it's over on Living Split Screen. You got to be there. My brother from another Steel Rain and I had a weekend off, So we're gonna have extra energy tomorrow morning. So be there. It's gonna be fun. We got a lot to talk about. Steeler and I got some different opinions coming up on certain topics. So it's gonna be an interesting morning. So be there tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, living split screen. And then, like Fuzzy said, tomorrow night's the Shop Podcast. PTK Blam, Fuzzy Belvedere, myself. Now at the new time, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time, over on PTK Blam's channel. Best way to end your Saturday night. Next week, Xbox Factor, All Good Things Green, Double Barrel Gaming, Mr. Boomstick, 5 days a week. Gotta be there, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. Thursday night, right back here, PM in the PM, Pong and Mav in the PM. Who knows what's coming up next week? It's been crazy so far for about 3 months straight this year. So check you out next week, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time, PM in the PM. Otherwise, Golden Age of Gaming is here, folks. Get out there this weekend, play what you love what you play, and I'm going to talk to you all real soon in the morning. Good night.
Yeah.
Mav. Diablo.
The Sousa said PS Plus Premium Dad doesn't sound as good. No. That was funny.
I knew what I was doing.
Yeah. But everybody in the chat, again, appreciate you all.
You can have an extra dad with PlayStation.
Yeah, extra dad. PS Plus extra dad. But yeah, we'll be streaming some Diablo, so come hang out with us and have some fun. And besides that, these guys already said all the shows that we got here, but follow on Fun Speculation if you want notifications when we're going to go live. Hit the notification bell, like, share it out, and subscribe to the channel if you like what we do here. And I appreciate you all.
And listen, Mav,
Yes.
we got to end it on Lulu Chen's tweet.
Yeah,
today.
you want to read that?
Happy weekend to everybody on here, but especially the Brazilians. That's how we're going to go out.
Okay.
Boom.
Peace out, everyone.
Shout out to Lulu. Let's
Later.
go.